Making workplaces more comfortable and collaborative. This is kind of our buzz line because it's what we want to do. 30 years ago, big 3-0, Bob and I in 1989 started our business. And we were friends. We were a little bit more than friends. Now we're just friends and business partners. But I will tell you, shortly after we met, we knew that we wanted to be in business together. And it had a lot to do with the fact that we just had this synergy as we thought about the kind of business we wanted to have, the kind of values that we wanted to have, how we wanted to treat people, our employees, our customers. And as we would go around to antique shows, or our idea of Sunday afternoon wasn't necessarily watching a football game, but it was more about going to a show house or something. We just had the same sense of style and the same gravitation to things that we liked. And we started our business. I love this quote from Thoreau because it says, "Friends, they are kind to each other's hopes, they cherish each other's dreams." And that's really what we've done for the last 30 years. We've really worked hard when you're a partnership to be kind to each other, but we've really cherished the fact that each of us had a dream to have a business that was unlike any other in the furniture industry. And we've translated that into every one of our employees that we think about. Being kind to your employees and nurturing them and building them up is an important part of building a business. And I'll take this opportunity to introduce Garrett Barr, who's our Senior Vice President of, for those of you who know him, Garrett has been with us this November. It'll be 20 years. We got him fresh out of college almost. But having somebody come to work in the company and having them invest themselves in the company, we wanted to make sure that we could help them grow. And Garrett is in charge of all of our procurement, all of our costing. He's in charge of all of our national accounts like Restoration Hardware, who we do a big private label business with, LL Bean that we make private label for, Bloomingdale's, and a whole series of independent retailers. And most important responsibility is his contract responsibility, where he focuses most of his time. And it's for our hospitality division. And even more important than that is our Steelcase partnership and really building this business. And we think that we are at a moment that we're going to build something really great together. Our vision really was to make the world a more comfortable place for everyone, for our employees, for our clients. And that was an important thing to us because I had worked for a big furniture manufacturer, and I'll just give you one quick story. I had a customer, JCPenney, and I'd sold them a whole program. They put it on the front page of their catalog. And when it came time for them to have the samples on their floor and their inventory when the catalog broke, we hadn't shipped. And I was furious. And in talking to the CEO of the company about it, he said, and I'll never forget, he said, "Mitch," in that southern accent that was really biting, and my name is Mitchell, not Mitch. He said, "Mitch, we are a profit-driven company." And I thought to myself, well, of course, everybody's a profit-driven company, but you have to take care of the customers. But that just wasn't an important thing to them. And I remember thinking, if ever I had a business, that was not what we were going to do to customers. Because ultimately, the buyer of Penny's, who was a terrific, terrific person, he had egg on his face. He looked like a jerk to all of his stores, to his senior management, and worse, the customers that came in. So for us, making sure that we took care of our clients was an absolute top priority. And taking care of our clients' clients. A lot of you folks here have clients that you're going to work with and present our product, and you're going to depend on us to have it there for the installation on time and of good quality. And we are committed to that. And to our community. We felt early on a calling, if you will, that in our community we wanted to be a guide and a role model for a lot of people. Two gay guys moving down to North Carolina, opening up a furniture business in the middle of, the county that we're in is 37,000 people. It is beautiful rolling mountains, 14 traffic lights, and 100 churches. And I have to tell you, the 100 churches, they weren't all welcoming to the idea of gay people. But what was important to us is that we wanted every kid in the community to know that you work hard, be a decent person, you can build a business and you can build a life for yourself.
30 years ago, there wasn't even a stoplight in the county.
You're right. There was one traffic light in the county. Now there's 14. These are the products we made. We started by making dining chairs. And what was disruptive about this in the industry is, first of all, we decided we wanted to make it environmentally responsible when we produced product, because we learned that the furniture industry 30 years ago was one of the biggest abusers of the environment, especially with the kind of foam that was produced, because it emitted CFCs and broke down the ozone layer. The wood that we were using, it was harmful to the forests. So we found, luckily, a foam that other manufacturers didn't want to use because it was a little more expensive. They really didn't understand the whole environmental connection. But we used it along with a wood frame construction. It was all one side construction cut out of plywood. And when you do that, it doesn't rack. So we had this incredible dining chair that we offered a 25-year warranty on, environmentally responsible foam, quick regrowth forests, packaging recyclable, and it really gave us a name in the industry very quickly. In fact, we started in the spring of 1989. By June, we had sold 5,000 dining chairs and 800 dining tables, because also at the time, there wasn't such thing as these really informal dining rooms. So that's what we used to make. The other thing we did that was a little different in 1995, we got our little Lulu. And we got her on a Monday night, brought her to work on Tuesday, and told everybody, this is Lulu. She's coming to work every day. There's one rule, no people food, because we wanted her to be healthy. And she did live to 12 and a half years, which is a long time for a bulldog. But that shot, we were doing some photography for an ad, and she just jumped up on the sofa, got that cute little look, and the rest is history. She was a real ham. Yeah, I used her all the time. But she was really our muse for making pet-friendly furniture. Because, people want to live with their pets, not on the floor like Ozzie and Harriet, but on the sofa next to them or on the bed. They want their kids to be on the furniture. You don't want to live your whole life saying, don't touch this, don't touch that. And we came up with this idea of washable slip covers, which then grew into performance fabrics. But she was our muse, and she still is. At our factory, we decided 20 years ago to put in a daycare center. And today we still have a daycare center, 5-star rated, the highest rating you can get in the state. And it really, I'll tell you, when Bob and I talk about our greatest accomplishments, it's having a daycare center and having our employees be able to come, bring their children, not worry about them during the day. Garrett, in fact, both of his children were in the daycare. Now they're both in college. Makes us feel older, but this is what we're making today. This is how our line has evolved. It's a little bit different than we started. In the mid-90s, we really had a feeling about doing modern furniture. Bob and I were in Paris and really looked at some of the Jean-Michel Frank designs and some of the Catherine Mimi things that she had in her store. And we loved this kind of soft modern, but didn't like the European hard edge modern. And we developed our sense of style very much for the American market. And frankly, I love when magazines write about us and refer to us as having the quintessential American style, American modern style. We've been recognized by some of the best magazines in the industry. Anybody here remember Metropolitan Home Magazine? In the 90s, their Design 100 was the cream of the crop to get in. And for having a company only 8 years old, for them to pick one of our designs and put it in the Design 100 and put it on the front cover of the magazine was pretty awesome. And that was really one of the first chairs that Bob designed and Bob is in charge of design, by the way. He's not in charge of talking. I'm in charge of talking.
But I do a very good job of correcting him when he's wrong.
But, when we started, we were kind of making dining chairs that were, part of what we did with the chairs that Bob really contributed was taking these basic chairs and doing them in fabulous fabrics, florals, rich velvets, stripes, and that really catapulted us. But they were somewhat basic designs. But we had so much business. I said to Bob one day, just design something. It doesn't matter if we sell it or not, because we just got so much business going on. And he came up with the chair that we called Sexy Sadie. And it was a huge hit. It was in Metropolitan Home. It was in 9 other magazines. So that was a great way for us to start getting publicity. And over the years, we've had a lot of editorial coverage. Profile stories, talking about design things. Kerry Washington did her whole office from the set of Scandal. Bob's got his dogs, talking about pet-friendly furniture. But we've had a good amount of editorial. And if you have clients, especially that aren't familiar with us, maybe dig up some of the editorials so you can show them and give them a feeling for what our ethos is and what the company's about. I love this Wolf Blitzer from CNN. He and his wife are huge fans of ours. And they wrote in a foreword to one of our books, "We loved their furniture long before we met them and often thought, if only they could decorate our whole house," which we have. Clean lines, total comfort, traditional with a twist. They always strike that perfect balance. And it's really a nice testimonial to get from them. But I think one of the great things about our line that people find easy to work with is it's what you want it to be. It's especially what your client wants it to be. And I always tell this story that one morning at the furniture market in High Point, Lon Habkirk, who was the key guy at Crate and Barrel that really put them in the furniture business, the key style maker, he came in the morning and walked through the line and he said to us, "I just love what you're doing. It's so traditional, but with a modern feel." And later that afternoon, an editor came from a magazine and she said, "I just love what you're doing. It's so modern, but with a traditional twist." So he said traditional with a modern feel. She said modern with a traditional. So it's what you really want it to be. In the mid-90s, we jumped out with an advertising campaign that really shook the industry and got us a lot of notice. I was at the mall, a shopping village down in South Coast called Fashion Island. And I'll always remember seeing a store and there was a big display of Calvin Klein underwear in the window. Then another store had a big display of Calvin Klein. And then I started counting. There were 11 stores in that shopping center that had Calvin Klein underwear either in the window or in the front of their display. And I thought about what was making Calvin Klein so successful versus Jockey and Fruit of the Loom, leaving them in the dust. It was this incredible advertising campaign. They brought sex to underwear with Marky Mark, remember? I came back and said to Bob, how can we do that? Because really, furniture is sexy. People have it in their home. They use it in a lot of different ways. How can we how can we speak to that part of people's life in their homes? And we found this great model from the local college. The rest is history. And then I decided to be in the ads myself. And then it really sort of took off. But we introduced a line of sleep sofas. And I know that you might not be doing that many sleep sofas, but I will tell you, we make the best sleep sofas in the world. And it was a great way for us to introduce them. Obviously, this ran in certain magazines and that ran in certain magazines. And this is some of the advertising that we do today. A little different because it's really with the time. But part of what we're expressing here is people really want a lot of color now. And a great way to do it is with a white sofa and fabulous pillows. And what's exciting about this sofa is it's covered in Sunbrella fabric. We have a great partnership with them. High performance fabrics really do well. It's great for the business that you're in, obviously. So this is our Jean-Luc sectional in a really pretty gray leather. I think, again, can make a great collaborative area. Our Lucy chair with an acrylic frame. Anybody here watch CBS Morning Show? This is not a, you're a good man. It's the second time I've asked and hardly anybody watches it. But, you what? You're commuting then, yeah. Anyway, CBS Morning Show, if you do watch it, the green room is glass. And from the set, you can see the green room. So we decorate the green room. And we have the Lucy chairs in there, and they really look great. We advertise in almost all the national upper-end shelter publications, including Interior Design Magazine, which I think is one that would really relate the most to your industry. And for our 30th anniversary, they're doing a really great profile on us in written word and in video. So I think that'll be exciting and a good way for you to communicate to people about our line. We also sell our collection in prestige retail environments. I think I mentioned we're Bloomingdale's biggest furniture supplier. They don't have furniture on the West Coast, by the way, not yet. We have a big shop at their 59th Street store in New York. And actually, we're the only branded shop that they have. And as I said, we make a lot of private label upholstery for Restoration Hardware. We sell our collection to some coffee shops. Years ago, I can't remember how many it was, like 15 or 18 years ago, I was in Seattle and I wanted a cup of coffee. And I saw this shop and there was like a line out the door. Figured I'd get a cup of coffee there, it must have good coffee. So I get in line, I start talking to this guy and say, what's with this coffee? He goes, oh, this is Starbucks. This is the coolest coffee, it's so great. They use Arabic beans or something. And then I started looking around and people were standing, or they sat on these chairs that were little wooden chairs. And I thought to myself, this place, if they had upholstered nice leather club chairs from us, that would be good. And they had 50 stores. If I could sell them just 2 for each store, I'd get an order for 100 chairs. I'll call them. So I cold called and just called the office and asked for Howard Schultz. I found out he was the CEO and got to his assistant, got an appointment within 2 hours, went to see him. Unbeknownst to me, just the week before, he had visited Restoration Hardware and met Steve Gordon, who was the founder, and said to Steve, I love this furniture. This is what we should have in our stores. Where do you get it? He said, oh, you got to talk to my friends, Mitchell Gold and Bob Williams. So it was one of those lucky things, but it was the great timing of it, and we've been selling them ever since. I tell you that because places like Starbucks, places like Restoration, selling them for 25 years, Bloomingdale's for 15, 20 years, you don't do that by shipping bad quality late. You achieve that by shipping consistently good quality, consistently on time. I'm not saying we're perfect, but I will tell you, we strive to be. We really work hard at it, and we want to take care of our customers. And we do a lot of hospitality business. The London's a really great boutique hotel in West Hollywood that we've completely furnished. The Kimpton Mason and Rook is a really cool hotel in DC that we furnished. Hyatt Regency, of course, Ritz-Carlton, Intercontinental, big brands. And Gurney's is a really beautiful resort in Montauk out in the Hamptons. And here we did virtually every piece of furniture in here, another lounge area. So I don't know, of course, all the installations we're doing. And I'm at the La Meridian in Dallas, come down for breakfast. Because of the time changes up super early, get down there, I look into this empty restaurant and I go, I think those are our chairs. I quickly went and picked it up because I wanted to see if we'd been knocked off or if it was actually our chair, and it was our chairs. So I loved seeing that. So we've evolved our business very often by just people asking us to do business with them. And I'm proud of that because part of when Bob and I started out, we really started with the idea that we wanted to take care of our customers and the people that we work with. And that word spreads, and the quality and so on. And Alan called me one day, now it's more than a year and a half ago. And I'll tell you, a lot of times when I get a senior executive from a related company, or it could be a tool company, it's usually because they want to buy furniture at wholesale for their home. They want to annoy me for a personal accommodation, like I have nothing else to do. So that day I thought, I'm going to take this call. And Alan did want to buy at cost, but he wanted to buy it in a very big way. So, we talked about it, and we had been doing some offices, some collaborative areas, some WeWorks things, but it wasn't really a focus of our business. And what Alan and Steelcase was able to offer us was really a partnership and an opportunity to make it an important part of our business. And that's when we shifted some of Garrett's responsibilities around and said, really take this thing and run with it. And I'm really proud of having this relationship with Steelcase. So when we launched it in New York, I don't remember how long ago it was.
Last winter.
It was last winter. We were able to be on Cheddar, which is this cool news, financial news station, very much for millennials. I was on Fox Business doing a segment about it, and then we had some other great write-ups. So I just will end by saying, our competitive advantages for us working together is our consistently good quality, consistently on time. Our values, you never know what touches a customer. I think just knowing the Salesforce bunch, knowing Tony Profit and talking to him, a lot of a lot of people want to do business with a company that has shared values, and the shared value is we just want to make the world better. We really, really do. All of our upholstery is made in America. We have close to 1 million square feet in North Carolina. As my mother said the first time she saw the facility, she said, "Wow, this is like a real business." I'm like, "Yeah, it's a real company." But we have a big factory, and we can handle the volume. We know how to work with large orders. In fact, we are just getting, maybe in the next couple of days, like a $250,000 order or so from University of Southern California for their, what do you call those fancy boxes? The suites at the stadium. Not bad for country boys. We make our product environmentally responsibly, and we do as healthy as we possibly know how and can do. And we're recognized for our design leadership in the industry, and we're super proud of that. So we've launched a line of, we call them La Petite seats. So I don't know if you can see it, but they're super cute, sculptural. You can put really great fabrics on them. But you know, when you think about a space where there's a sectional and you can put a half a dozen other small chairs, they're very much sit-up chairs. I think they're going to be so great for the stuff that you're doing. You get that? So I'm happy to answer any questions. Thank you for having us. We really, really appreciate it.